Let's go! Who's up next?
Welcome, Internet, to the Xbox Empire podcast, part of the Play Some Video Games network of podcasts. I'm Elaine. Donnie's here. It's just the two of us fools this week. It's probably for the better. We won't ruin anyone else's day. Hi, Donnie.
Hello.
How's it going? Oh, hey.
It's going well. How are you doing?
You know, browser shuffling. It's been a... Yo, I just have to tell this story because it's so stupid. We use a piece of like browser-based software to do this show, and we're having all kinds of problems. And I couldn't hear Donnie. Donnie couldn't hear me. So I'm like, I'll switch from Chrome to Edge. Donnie switched from Edge to Mozilla.
Mozilla Firefox.
So we've browser shuffled in a little ring.
And then it started working. And at one point, whatever that thing you did before you switched, it made my computer start to like
freak
make
out.
A really loud noise that I've never heard it do before.
I'm infecting you with a virus. I've learned how to do that.
Well, so here's the thing. I was actually a little concerned because normally I reboot my router and my PC before we start. And I sit down to go reboot my PC and I get that dreaded restart and update.
Me too. And I'm like, no.
I was like, no.
Be all day. We ain't touching that. I was like, outside active hours. Outside active hours. I hate Windows Update. It breaks something every time. So yeah. So we look. It's Wednesday. What could possibly go wrong, right?
It is Wednesday. It feels like a long Wednesday. It feels like a long time since we last talked.
Yeah. What is that about? Life's been busy. Also, we're kind of in the in-between video games slog right now where like there's a bunch of stuff that's about to come out, but I feel like I'm in limbo.
Is there a bunch of stuff that's about to come out?
I think so.
A couple things that's about to come out.
Look, there's Nier this week. There's Pokemon and Returnal next week.
Okay, if you're counting everything, yeah.
Yeah, the week. Well, yes, not Xbox only stuff. I realize that this is an Xbox podcast, but we've well established that we're both idiots who play video games on everything. So let's just, Then there's Resident Evil, and then there's something else.
Mass Effect.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Which Kevin bought today.
I saw that.
I could actually buy it and play. I could play it day one. Probably still won't.
Donnie, you're gonna. And then you're going to be like, screw this 5 hours in, and then the whole internet's going to get mad at you. That's what's going to happen. You're going to come on this podcast and you're going to be like, I played 5 hours of Mass Effect and I quit Mass Effect, and then everyone's going to get mad at you. I was so mad at you.
It's too long. It's so boring.
Oh, God. Why is there so much talking?
God, they just keep talking. I was sick last weekend.
Did you get like You've had a COVID vaccine. I've had a COVID vaccine. Did you get like a sinus infection from?
That's what I thought it was, but I honestly don't know. I think I might find out tomorrow. I still need to go to the doctor. I'm going tomorrow. I was supposed to go today, but we couldn't find an appointment. I'm in between. I changed insurance. So I don't have a primary care. And one of the things that COVID's messed up is like nobody's taking on new patients.
It's a mess. You almost have to go to an urgent care.
That's what I've had to do for like 5 months because my PCP appointment still is a month out. We've waited for 5 months to get an appointment.
This is grown up crap, y'all. But I went through this last weekend because I had an incredibly ugly earache. Like adults don't get ear infections.
That's crazy that you say that because that's why I'm going to the doctor tomorrow.
So it's finally starting to go away. I got looked at by urgent care and they're like, it's not infected, but you have a ton of fluid in there. So it's probably a sinus thing.
I wonder if that's what they're going to tell me.
Pressure.
Mine is, I've got like, okay. All right. I got really sick.
Okay.
Melissa left, which is like the worst because I'm
a baby.
Yeah. I am a baby, but I'm also like the opposite of like Dr. Mom, so like I don't do any of that. And Melissa like actually usually has to drag me to the doctor. I'm like, I'll be fine. We'll take some whiskey. We'll be okay. So Melissa leaves. I've got the kids. We plan like this whole weekend. And then right at Shack, I start coughing, like right before Shack. And I'm like, this doesn't feel normal. And I make it through Shack and I'm like, I'll be good. I wake up the next day and I am coughing and hacking and sneezing and I can't breathe. So I'm doing like the Vapo Rub and the shower and I'm getting the steam going. And Saturday I wake up and I feel awful. And here's the thing, no fever ever. At no point did
Interesting.
I have a fever, but like extreme exhaustion. Like I didn't leave my chair on Saturday. I crawled into my chair and stayed there all weekend. But Sunday I wake up, ear super sore,
Yep.
hurts. Melissa says it's super red. She's
Oh.
got her little thing in there. She's like, there's stuff in there. So I do the Proxide. We've got the drops. I do all that. It goes down. It stops being sore, but there's still stuff in there, and it feels like I can hear it.
Pressure.
Like,
I can too. Like
yeah,
swimmer's
it's
ear.
like
Like
muffled.
yep. It's
And I don't
finally
know what it
abating.
is.
It's finally abating for me. It took me Flonase and Benadryl every night.
Ah.
It's literally my allergies causing a sinus problem. This is how kids out there who are listening to the show who are under the age of like 30, this is how you know your ass is getting old. Your sinuses can literally take you out for a week. And
Debilitating.
I wasn't sick, but like I couldn't hear. Every time I would swallow, it would hurt like
Yeah.
in my ear canal. Yeah. And my husband's like, how do you have an ear infection at 38 years old? I'm like,
Right.
I don't, they told me it wasn't infected. They're just like, oh, you just have sinusitis.
I've never
Really?
had an ear infection.
Oh,
Melissa's
I got
afraid
them.
that I might have like ruptured an eardrum or something. But
It would have bled out your ear.
Hmm.
This happened to me as a kid. And my mother as a 40-year-old woman or 45-year-old woman. This is, like I said, kids, don't get old. It's nonsense.
So anyway,
Nonsense.
I was
So
so
anyway.
tired
You
that I
played nothing?
didn't. I didn't play anything over the weekend. I was how tired I was. I was so sick
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't want to play anything. So I went down this ridiculous rabbit hole on
Oh.
YouTube.
Oh.
So I love stand-up comics.
Okay.
Stand-up comedy is one of my favorite things to binge, and I watch it all the time. Like if there's a special, I've already seen it. Like I am that person, and I start reading, like start getting into all these like what I would only call like dirt sheets. Like all these comedians have like their own podcast.
Oh,
where
yeah.
they just talk trash about other
Oh,
comedians.
yeah. It's awful.
Blame the others about what they're doing, what they shouldn't do, and all the things like that, and
Mhm.
jokes stealing, and who doesn't. And I was going through like just hours, which led me to to old To Catch a Predator videos.
What?
That
How? You're on a list. You're on like 12 lists right now.
that I
You're
started watching, and like Chris Hansen is perfect for that role. Like I'll never not
Absolutely.
associate his voice for that. But then I started going down this rabbit hole of all this stuff that Chris Hansen has done since this show. Like he ripped off a bunch of people on Kickstarter.
really?
Like this weird internet show that like investigates YouTubers but doesn't really, and it's all like kind of fake. And it's
Are you sure
cheating on
you
his
weren't
wife
like
with, a 20-year-old and like all this stuff.
your YouTube suggestions must be lit right now? They must be like, bro, I got a conspiracy. for you."
That's exactly what it is. It's just insane.
I can't.
That's when
I-
you know, like I use that to explain just how sick I felt.
Yeah,
But I just sat there and did mindless YouTube for hours.
that's not just mindless YouTube, right? That's like I've gone down the rabbit hole of nonsense YouTube. Like my version of mindless YouTube is like watching somebody's Twitch stream for 9 hours. Yours is like, wonder what Chris Wallace is up to. Who says I wonder what Chris Wallace is up to in 2021? Donnie does.
I'm very happy that I was able to make Sweet Hangs.
I'm glad you were.
I
You should
was.
tell. You should tell the nice people about that podcast real quick.
So
since
Sweet
we're talking
Hangs is a podcast that Sean Capri and I are doing every Sunday on the Twitch channel. If you've listened to this show for long, you know who Sean Capri is over at the Xbox Drive and We the Gamercast. And Sean and I have always wanted to do a show, so we have been recording in secret like the last 2 months. And last week when Sean made the announcement, we just released them all at once. We're like, here's 4 hours of audio with me and Sean. If you like what you hear, you know, subscribe and come back and follow us. So I was able to make that Sunday, which like I kind of like had to fight through, but I feel better. Just whatever this ear thing is now.
Yeah, you sound mostly okay.
Yeah, I feel good.
I mean, besides
Tired.
besides the Chris Wallace inundation, you're
I
fine.
took a nap before we podcast. I woke up.
You woke up 10 minutes before. We're professionals, people. Okay.
I was so tired today. I was like, I need to take a power nap or something before I get on the podcast. So
And then not talk about video games for the first 20 minutes of the show because
Hey.
both of us. Hey, look, life is happening for me too.
conversation.
It's funny. All right. Like I'm gonna literally go YouTube a bunch of what Chris Wallace is doing after this. So
Chris
don't worry.
Hansen.
Chris Hansen. Excuse me.
Chris Hansen. He's
Chris
the
Hansen.
So apparently he's not a great guy.
No,
But I don't
really?
want to say that, but I will never get over like when he has some John sitting there in the kitchen. He walks in and he goes, "Why don't you take a seat right there?" Oh, I totally forgot. Here's what got me hooked on it: the
Oh my
YouTube
God.
comments.
Oh
The YouTube
no.
comments are left on all those videos, and they are to die for. There are so many thousands of people that are like, "How many of you are here because of quarantine?" Like, there's
Oh, I love it. Oh, this is so good. This is like a collective fever dream because
it's like
of boredom.
a meta thing. Yeah, like
Whoa.
just watching all of the. There was one person in the chat, because Chris Hansen has that voice,
Yes.
you know,
Very
and there was
specific.
this one person in the
Chris Hansen.
comments who was like, "Sun tips over vase." Chris Hansen walks in and he's like, "You see how this looks?" Just made me laugh so hard.
I love that this is what you did on your sick bed. Like, that's my favorite part about this is like normal people will be like, oh, time to catch up on some reading, maybe sleep, listen to an audiobook.
Too
You're like, you
tired
know
for
what?
that.
Chris Hansen. What's he doing?
I did post a picture, which I thought was a very eloquent way of describing how sick I felt. I reached the end of my podcast queue. I was empty.
Are you okay?
That's yeah. So the thing that made me like obviously real tired. I wasn't tired just because I was sick. I couldn't sleep. I was up all night Saturday
Because you can't breathe and you're coughing. I've
Yeah,
been there.
so
I've
I
been
couldn't
there.
sleep. So I was just like super tired. So I was just churning through podcasts for hours.
I read a book. I read Dune when I couldn't sleep on Saturday night, but you're over there like too sick for reading. Reading's hard. They talk too much in books. I'm gonna listen to these podcasts.
Reading's hard.
Reading's hard, bro.
Since we're doing some housekeeping, I do want to make the mention that we are closing down the PSVG master feed on May 10th. The PSVG feed that features every single episode that every show produces in one condensed feed will be closing down May 10th. So if you're listening over there on the master feed,
Just
make sure that you find our solo shows and subscribe to the solo shows.
the benefit is you get to sick artwork. We have some sick artwork for
Yeah.
each of the shows, and it's
That
fun.
is good.
And also, just I find it easier to manage them when they're organized by topic because I like, do I want to listen to the Nintendo thing today, or do I want
Sure.
to listen to the Chris Hansen, Xbox podcast today? The Game Pass podcast.
It's still this. So we're closing it down because we don't have nearly as many listeners there as we used to.
Right.
It used
People
to be
have-
90. It used to be 90% of our things, and we did the solo feed. Shaq was the first feed that started out doing weekly, and then Empire, and then PlayStation XP, and now we're down to like 8% of our total listens are on the master, and it just doesn't make sense to not pay for it. It's not necessarily just about that because we'd still pay for it if there were tons of people listening to it. It's the double posting of
the
every show
maintenance.
that
Yep.
everybody has to do. It's the time to keep
Look.
it running. It just doesn't make much sense anymore.
Donnie needs that time back to go down YouTube rabbit holes, people. Okay, he needs this. All right, he's found a new hobby. I'm going to lose him to a Chris Hansen appreciation podcast at some point. Boy, buddy, I haven't been playing that many video games, but
So how are you?
I'm fine. I am buried still. I feel like I've said this every day for every podcast for the last 2 months, but I'm still so buried under work that it is hard to concentrate on video games. Like my brain won't stop doing. I got into endless arguments today about budgets. I am not an accountant. I'm an engineer. So there's been a lot of Tetris because it helps my brain stop doing the swirly thing that it likes to do over work and disconnects me.
Hang on
And
a
there's-
second.
Oh,
Zero Skill writes in.
Oh.
You've had a rough day at work. You have a few minutes to warm up the
This is
car
good.
and chill before heading home. What game are you streaming for a few minutes to relax?
it's Tetris Effect.
It's Tetris.
It's Tetris Effect because that game, one, you can play it for like one track if you really want to. And that's one of those games that I would totally play on the cloud streaming. I would do that because I could just 3 or 4 minutes chill in the office while I scrape ice off the car, play that. I would totally do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pittsburgh got snow today. I don't live in Pittsburgh. Nah, dude.
The amount of across the U.S. is getting snow in mid-April posts that I'm seeing on Twitter. It's from everywhere. It's from like Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Colorado. Like it's all across.
Nope.
We got a warning that it was going to be colder than normal tonight.
Such a Georgia-ass thing to do. Y'all, it's going to be below 60. Watch out.
The National Weather Service were like, hey, just so you know, it's going to get a little colder than it normally does.
Meanwhile, in New Jersey, they're like, severe thunderstorms. This is that season for us where we get the
Yeah, of
alerts
course.
on our phone. And then either we get a plague of frogs or we get a little bit of wind that blew around one pillow off one thing in my backyard. That was today. But They did make it seem like a plague of frogs was upon us. I got very disappointed. I got no frogs, no locusts, and no tornadoes. This is nonsense.
I don't know what my game would be.
Yeah, what would your game be if you could only do like 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15 of one game?
I mean, my immediate reaction is to say a golf game, I guess. I'd probably hit a round or something probably a sports game.
A sports. I'm gonna go.
Play like a game of Madden or something.
Okay, yeah, you could probably play a game of Madden in 20 minutes with everything turned up, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how sports games work anymore. I feel so old.
The show, which I've been playing.
Okay, yeah, the show. Like, I love the sim aspect of the show, like the management bits. That stuff's fun to me. I'm such a nerd. I forgot that that's on Game Pass now.
It's on Game Pass out now. I've been playing it, Elaine.
How do you? Let's talk about the show.
So when I haven't been playing Ghosts of Tsushima, which I have been a lot, I think I'm finally starting to get it. I did jump into the show yesterday, and the show is such a perfect Game Pass game for me. Now, I will openly admit, if they didn't put it in Game Pass, I think I was going to try and find a way to buy it. Only because I'm starving. I'm thirsty.
Yeah, I feel this too.
I feel thirsty for a new video game. To use an internet word. Like, I'm just dying.
That's not how you use that word, but right? We can have a conversation about that offline. Okay, I'm older than you.
I was trying to do that on purpose. I just want somebody to roll their eyes or cringe in their car. Just like, I just want to, that's why I said it twice. I'm thirsty, Elaine.
Stop it, Donnie.
For a new video game to play. But I have never played the show. Like, I have, but I don't play it regularly.
Sure.
I haven't played it in some many years. So I'm not that into baseball video games. So this is a game that I normally, like if it was coming out every year on Xbox, this is a game I normally wouldn't buy. Maybe I'd buy it on cheap or used, or, if I did buy it, definitely trade it back in.
You bought last year's game for like a $5 or $10, right? Yeah.
It was like, let's spend $5 on this now to prove to myself if I want to spend money on the Xbox version.
It's very good.
So and that's perfect for me because now that's on Game Pass, I can get my fill. And then when it leaves Game Pass, I won't care because I probably would have traded it anyway. Like, this is not an evergreen title is what is more or less what I'm trying to say. I'm not going to keep it forever. So I booted it up, instantly started playing a couple exhibitions. I immediately turned it on easy.
Oh yeah, I'm not good at the baseball.
I jumped into the settings that I like. I don't know if they're easy or not, but I have directional hitting on. I have classic fielding on. I have the pulse. I like the pulse pitching mechanic versus the meter.
I like that too. And I want to note for everybody who's listening who maybe hasn't played the show, because up until now, this year, it has been a PlayStation exclusive. It's not just like you set the difficulty level. It's kind of got a little bit of The Last of Us 2's like tweakable vibe where you can literally just pick the things you want to tweak. I love that in games. I love when you give me like tweaks for combat or tweaks for pitching. It's awesome, and this game does an incredibly granular job of how do you want to play baseball in our video game.
Yep. They make it as easy or as hard as you want it to be.
Love it.
So I did that, and then after I did that for, I think I played 2 games, and I was like, all right, let's turn down the innings because the games are too long.
Oh, all that talking in baseball.
Too long. Like, just so much.
How many innings did you set it to? What's the lowest they'll let you go? 5?
I think you could go as to 3 or 5. I don't know.
Really?
I stopped at 7. I thought 7 was good.
Okay.
I can go 5 innings with my pitcher, and then 2 with a setup guy and a closer, and then I started the Road to the Show thing.
Yeah.
The Road to the Show mode is kind of addictive.
Yeah. Yo, the show is really good. I love baseball, so it speaks to me. And yes, before everybody writes it, I'm a Yankee fan. I grew up a Yankee fan.
Oh, gosh.
I grew up a Yankee fan.
The worst.
It could be the Mets. Come on.
You're from Jersey.
I'm from the northern part of Jersey. Jersey doesn't have a baseball team.
Part of Jersey.
No, because look, Jersey doesn't have a baseball team. We have to choose. It's just like football. You either
Everybody hates the Yankees.
Yeah, everybody hates the Yankees, so everybody can hate the Yankees.
People in New York hate the Yankees.
I also like the Phillies because they're in different divisions, and I can
both.
I can too. They're in different. I can like them both until they're in the World Series together, and then I will cheer for the Yankees, which is exactly what happened when I kind of moved in this area. I really like baseball. My husband really likes baseball. So I love like all the little, like I love the Road to the Show. I could play that for hours. I love it so much.
It's very addictive. I once I got into it, I was like, okay, I get it. Like the career mode of just being able to play, it speeds up the game, so it's very easy. You're not doing anything for too long.
Yep.
If anything, I think my biggest, not a gripe, but like the thing that I enjoy about playing the exhibition is that when you're batting, you get multiple cracks at batting.
Yes.
Versus in your Road to the Show, like you just get your at bat,
Yep.
which I guess raises the stakes. If you're trying to, because you just get your at bat and then you go back to the field, if you strike out or you pop fly. I don't feel like I have a sense of control over my batting. I'm not sure if that just comes later or if it's just meant to be realistic, simulation. Because like even in baseball, you really don't. The best hitters don't have like a total control over their bat either.
I've always liked the nuance of pitching in baseball video games more, like placement, timing, like switching it up. Like I just prefer that. With batting, I always just feel like I'm swing with a prayer because I'm
really?
not a great. Yeah, I
prefer. I'm doing pretty good. I mean, it's on easy, but I'm batting .385. I got 5 homers.
Not bad. I'm
like
okay
in the
at
first
it.
month,
I mean, my husband said if you kick it down to easy, you can just beat on pitchers. Just absolutely. Like he had it down where he was just wailing on pitchers.
It's not that
every
easy.
game.
I'm really good with the timing. Like I see the feedback. My timing, I've gotten the timing down. I'm good. I'm always in the green, if not perfect, a lot of the time. But even then, I'll hit a perfect pitch and it'll be a pop-up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's realistic.
Constantly, So it's like, that's the feedback. That's where I'm like, man, if I'm this good with the timing and the hitting, shouldn't I be like, just, mash? I'm thinking the same thing. Like your husband, like, shouldn't I just be hitting them all over the fence? But it's not. Like
interesting. I'm going to have him play it because I'm curious if it feels different from last year and the year before. Because he was I would watch him and he was taking pitcher's yard constantly. Like once he had to kick the difficulty up because
like
he was
just,
oh man, like at least 1 in every 3. He was just doubles and.
So I feel like I have a really good chance to hit a homer every game.
That's fair.
I'm definitely batting like a good, like 400%. Like I'm definitely almost like 2 out of 3. I'm getting a hit. So I feel good. I would hate it if it was like I would hate if it was realistic. If it was
that would
1 for 4. I'd be like, oh, this is the worst game.
And when he kicked it up to the higher difficulty, which was whatever the highest one was at that point, because he had finally gotten really good at it. He was like, okay, now I actually have to pretend to play baseball. That was like hard
count and everything.
And he was just like, okay, it was actually mentally exhausting. He's like, it's actually like watching a stressful baseball game.
No,
and it's too much for me. I just want to feel like a superhero and play the sports game.
Yeah.
So
I'm an Indians fan because
okay
and everything.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
I played the Yankees, and the Yankees made me realize just how bad the Indians are this year, because the Indians lineup, they are so much blue in the hitting zone, so much blue, and the Yankees lineup is basically a red box from the bottom to the top of the order. Every player has a full red box. So my pitchers are great. But even with my great pitchers, even on easy, like I feel like I'm working, like they work the pitches, they work the count, like they're too good. That's why everybody hates the Yankees. And but one thing that I do love about being an Indians fan is last year they traded one of our star pitchers for a kid named Emmanuel Clase.
Okay,
and he's a reliever. He's a closer. In the legit world, in the real world, kid has heat. I've already watched him pitch a couple times. Throws like 102.
Bananas.
Having a guy like that in the show is super fun. Like I'm so excited just to get to Clase and just start hurling fastballs at people and watching them swing and miss. That is a blast.
Chapman, which is one of the Yankees closers, he's got the 105 mile an hour fastball, and man, look, winging those things and just having a pitcher, like a hitter, just stand there and still be looking at it. And
like when they swing out of their shoes and like rotate around, it's very rewarding.
Oh, it's so good. It feels so good. Also, when you just hurl it past them so hard, they don't even swing at it. They're like, where? What? Like the coyote and the roadrunner, like,
huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So good.
So I'm very much enjoying that. And then outside of that, like, here's the thing. I've played it a bunch. for like the last 18 hours, like yesterday and most of today, I'm already starting to like, okay, like I might like get my fill. Like I'm not like about to bounce off of it because I got nothing else to do, but like I'm starting to feel like it's like I got it.
Yeah. The thing about, for me, like a sports game is it needs to be mixed with something else, or else, because if I just play the show, then I just run out of like, it's just like I burn it out really fast. It's kind of better for me if I do like, I'll play a game, or I'll advance the show mode by like 2 games, and then I play something else. Then it'll last forever, because it's like,
and that's exactly what I was thinking with your stressed out of work game.
Yeah,
an easy game to pick up and play a game a week of your your road to the show guy, and have a couple of bats. I'm playing right field. Run down a couple fly balls, and just move on. I downloaded it. It's installed. So that's my next sort of like, because I think I can just pick that one up having played the previous games pretty easily, but then I'll look at the controller and be like really confused for a little while. Because I've played the show off and on for years on a PlayStation controller, and I'll be like, I need a minute. Hold on. It feels wrong. I mean, plays great. I did want to, I don't know how much your husband may have mentioned, if he even cares about certain things, but I noticed that the review score for this one is apparently lower than it normally is.
I haven't looked into the why. I'll have to see what's going on there. I always feel like the games like this that straddle generations can sometimes take that hit.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? It happens with Madden every time that this comes around. So I'm just kind of curious if that's what it is, or
I saw people whining about it on Twitter. I didn't look into it. I don't care enough to.
I don't care. I'm going to play the baseball game because I legitimately think even with a lower review score year over year, it's still one of the best. I think it still might be the best sports game that exists.
I would argue in that, but I won't.
Well, you're going to argue for a golf game.
Nope.
No.
I probably wouldn't.
I like it better than Madden and basketball and all that stuff. I think the 2K. Show is.
When it comes to and they've messed around a little bit lately with trying to make more money, but like when it comes to just playing the game,
that's
like
fair.
How real 2K feels is kind of nuts.
I kind of feel that way about the show, but I also have a really built-in love of baseball, so it kind of gets that bump.
Sure.
Over, you know what I mean? But I just, man, it's
Piper
one of
agrees with you.
See, that's because I'm right. It's one of the few that has a career mode that feels very satisfying and not crappy.
I will agree with you. The career mode, I think, is I don't want to say my favorite because I've only played it for like a couple days. It might be like the most clearly addictive career mode that I've seen since NCAA football. It very much scratches that itch.
Yes.
Where you feel like it just has an extra, it doesn't feel as hollow and as weightless. Like with NCAA football, like you were the coach, you ran the program, you did the recruiting, you have all of the things that go into it. And it's way better than like 2K's The Association or Madden's hysterically
Madden's
bad.
is so bad. That's the first one I was thinking. Like, and even 2K's is not good. And this one,
2K's isn't good.
This one, it's very, very satisfying.
And I love that you like, and then I'm down in the minors. I'm playing for the Akron Rubber Ducks.
Yeah, man.
Like,
it's so good.
I think yard in front of 13 people.
There's like 2 drunk guys in the back. I think that's what makes it the most satisfying, because you can make a good exhibition sports game like every time, right?
Yeah.
But to have a career mode that makes you want to keep coming back to it, I think that's hard in sports games. I think you just end up dipping in like Madden and being like, no, it's bad, you know? Yeah. So I think that's why this one gets my...
It has a lot of heart. That I absolutely agree with you. Like you can tell like the amount of time and effort and detail that they put into it. And you're right. I haven't seen anything like that since NCAA. It feels like NCAA was the last game that I played that really did that to a heart, and that is my favorite thing about it so far.
It's great mode.
I kind of just want to jump in. Oh, and my character.
Did you make him look stupid?
I've got a rat tail. I've got handlebar mustache.
No, what have you done?
Just big like Wade Boggs energy, man. Just like 1975, chewing tobacco, fat and homers.
I'm like,
just old dude.
I feel like I'm the only person who makes characters in these games that I'm like, I'm going to try to make an attractive human being who's not a human nightmare.
No, nobody wants to do that, Elaine. That's not even fun.
I'm the only one. Everybody else goes on Twitter and is like, look at my human nightmare. I made it myself.
I wanted to make Kenny Powers. That was the first idea I had. But then I didn't want to pitch. Like I think pitching is easier.
I I like pitching.
And it's not that I don't like it. It's just that once I started pitching and I was good, like in the minors, I started pitching well. And then I was like, I don't want to just pitch though.
Fair.
I don't want to do 100 games of just pitching. No, I want to bat. Like I want to hit and stuff.
I do. I just want to pitch.
There's
something so satisfying about the right breaking ball and just having a dude shuffle out of his shoes and just cry as he walks away.
I had all kinds of junk pitches too. I did a cutter, a slurve, a knuckle curve.
Yeah.
Like just all kinds of junk.
I just want to send them. I just want that heater right down the middle when they're looking for it and they still can't hit it. Oh, so good. I love baseball. Baseball is so
socks. I also had high socks.
Oh, do you? Do you have high socks? I prefer the high socks to the long pants. I don't like the
tar all over the helmet, all over the bat. Like I wanted to look like an old, like an old baseball card from the 70s had beer on it.
And like peanuts stuck to the back.
Yeah.
Like the ones you used to be like, I'm gonna stick that one in the spokes of my bike.
Yeah. Like when they used to pour Cracker Jacks into a bag and give it to you, not like out of the box.
And then your hands would get all sticky and you would be holding the cards and then they would stick to like, gross. That's the gum under the seat baseball card. You fancy.
It's hilarious. All these kids out there, they all have like these low cuts. They're all smooth face and over this old, grizzled, like, gangs of New York guy out here just hitting bombs.
He tumbled out of a time machine, looked around and went, time to play baseball.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Gross. A league of their own crap right there. It's just it's big Tom Hanks energy. All right. All right. I guess I've mostly been I installed the show. That will be this week's project. And I've been kind of dabbling in and out of Wolfenstein and Tetris and whatever. I'm doing the I'm in limbo, I want my video games mood thing right now. Yeah. So
I'm glad I started Ghost. It was the right time.
Good time to do that because it's so like meandering right now.
Yeah.
So
I mentioned to you, like I played it once and I was like, it just was too much that I didn't want to get into. It felt like a lot to learn and everything. And now I've got nothing to do. Right. And it was perfect. Like now I'm just playing it and I'm learning it all. And I'm starting to get the grasp of the language, of the system, the mechanics, the upgrades. And now I'm kind of into it. Like the other day I was playing, I was like,
I get it.
I think I like this game.
Oh no, look at you. Oh, you're holding a PlayStation 5 controller and you're like, oh no, I like it.
It's very, very good.
Oh no, I have Nier Replicant coming this week. I'm excited.
I'd be excited to hear. Yeah. I played a lot of Nier Automata.
I love that game deeply.
So I'll be excited to hear what you think about it. I'm not as sold on this one as I was that one. And I didn't finish that one either. I played through one playthrough.
Oh, I played a lot of that game and it went places, but I did not play the original Nier. I own a copy. But that game has not aged super well. So I'm excited about this. So I'll probably be able to talk about that next week. I think I'm getting my copy tomorrow.
See, I thought I was all smart and they were like, all right, like you've reached the campaign. And then I was like reading a review and they're like, and you got to keep playing. And I was like, oh no.
That thing goes some places, but you really do have to invest a lot of time. So I'm kind of curious what this one does and why not? Let's go. Let's get weird. Let's get weird in Japanese. I got time. All right, let's talk about the news because there is news. There's actually more news than I thought there was going to be kind of all at once. Okay. Starting right as we're recording this, Xbox players no longer need an Xbox Live Gold subscription to play free-to-play online games. Oh, baby, let's go. It's about time. We bitched so much on the internet that the thing they should have done years ago is finally done.
Yes, they should have done this many, many years ago.
Look, there's over 50 free-to-play games that live on their service that are now available to be played for free without a gold subscription, including Apex, Fortnite, and Rocket League, which are the big bangers, if you will. But it should have happened a long time ago.
I got tipped off that this was happening last week.
Oh.
And it was very funny because over the weekend when I was just sitting on my couch not doing anything, like I would look at comments on Twitter and there were all these people whining about how they couldn't play Warzone and stuff. And I was just like,
just you wait.
You wait.
Just
don't even know yet. And they were big mad too. And so
they're always big mad. It's the internet. It's Twitter. I got a badge I got a thing on Twitter that popped up a couple of weeks ago. And it was like, yo, you've been on Twitter for 14 years. I'm like, that's a lot of pissed off people on a daily basis on the internet.
Wow, that's way too much.
I was like, time to close my Twitter account.
Right?
Ugh. Actually, Twitter is the place I put everything I don't want my family to ever see. because I'm not putting it on Facebook. That's for sure. All right. So yeah, like, look, should have happened a long time ago. Glad it's finally happened. If you play free to play games and you're paying for gold literally for that reason and that reason alone, you don't have to anymore. So buy Game Pass instead.
That's right.
Game Pass podcast. All right. Why don't you hit this next one for me and tell me about this GameStack event?
Yep. So Xbox had their GameStack Live event. The biggest news was absolutely Sarah Bond standing in front of a Nintendo Switch.
Oh God. So this is now the second or third or fourth time that thing has been prominently displayed in the background of something.
It wasn't like, oh, it's Phil's office and he likes the Switch. No,
it was
completely product placement. It was just the Switch on stage with the Series S and everything else.
And that was it. There was no other.
As if the Switch was made by Xbox or something.
They wish, dude. Oh, bro. They wish so hard that they had managed to hit that.
Now, you can make the argument that this is simply because Xbox GameStack has been used to ship games on Switch.
Sure.
Or you can read a little further into it.
Which we did on last week's podcast. Which literally to death.
I still do.
With Rebecca. I still kind of do too, and I'm just curious to see what level of further we get to over the next few months.
There's no, as I said in the Discord, nobody puts a competing platform in your marketing video by mistake or because you shipped a game. Like they're like, oh, it's because they put Minecraft on Switch. It's like, no, you wouldn't put a system in your video because they put Minecraft on PlayStation 2. You didn't see one of those sitting back there.
No, they're good. I got one of those, but they don't have one out. I think we're going to get something, and I'm curious to see what level of something it is. And yeah, it might not be as exciting as like the most obvious exciting announcement, but let's see what they do. I'm curious. And
yeah,
the continued partnership between Microsoft and Nintendo is good vibes. It's good for everybody. Let's just keep doing that.
Yeah.
Under some capacity.
Yeah. It's a shame that Reggie's not there because like a Phil Reggie bromance comedy video would be amazing.
Reggie's too busy trolling people about Mother 3 on Twitter. Reggie needs to be stopped. Okay. Sir, he is
it's my favorite thing he's ever done is when he left and did this tweet. Like, I love this tweet so much.
That tweet made me laugh out loud so hard that I choked on my morning coffee when someone tagged me in it.
It's very, very good.
The man is, bring him on stage. But anyway, what else did we get out of this event?
Yeah, so from the actual event, outside of what was in the background, this comes from Jeff Grubb over at VentureBeat. Microsoft is incorporating AMD's Fidelity FX tools directly into the Xbox Dev Kit, which will enable studios to get parity between PC and Xbox versions of their games. Additionally, this lays the groundwork for Xbox to get next-gen features like AMD's Super Resolution.
I'm sorry, I just need one moment. Say those three things together one more time for me.
Xbox to get next-gen features like AMD's Super Resolution.
I need to lie down. Okay, continue.
Which is their tech to combat and go against what NVIDIA is doing with DLSS.
Yeah, basically, it's like, we don't have the ray tracing by that name, so we're going to do Super Resolution, which really makes me need to lay down and like rub my temples in a dark room. We got that SR. We got that Super Resolution.
That's some Nintendo stuff.
It's weed naming stuff. Like, that's so stupid. I got that Super Resolution,
Blast processing. So, and he did mention that, like, with ray tracing, right, we see big performance hits, basically cut to FPS and all that. Well, with something like DLSS, the hope is you could render at a lower resolution, boost it up with your algorithm to a better looking image, and then put the ray tracing in, and then you keep the performance. So you could essentially have a 4K looking picture with ray tracing at 60 frames.
Yes, exactly. And like the concept of the tech is actually kind of genius, and if they can make it work and leverage it, it'll be great.
It's somewhat just proven, just not like on a wide scale, but there's proof that it works.
And I think it will. I just wish they would name it something less stupid. Elaine says about everything in the video game industry, but like
AMD's Extra Pixel.
You're making it somehow better, even if it's stupider in your version. But Super Resolution sounds like something.
The Xbox guy's voice. Gear 7 super resolution.
It needs to be the Resident Evil voice. Do you remember how it used to say Resident Evil at the beginning of
Resident
everyone?
Evil.
We need super resolution every time a game boots up with it. That's what
No.
we need.
We have no details on how long it'll take for that to happen.
Yeah. Just that it's happening.
It's happening. Probably a while.
I'm certain of it, but I think it's cool to see these like sort of evolving technologies being talked about early and then integrated in. Like
Sure.
that's always good
Hey,
vibes.
if you got
Like
a Series S,
that's a
this
good
is a lot to. This is something you really want to be paying attention to because this could potentially bring, at least in some cases, 4K or higher than 1440p visuals
Yeah.
to the console.
Yeah, without completely hammering performance, which is not what you want. Like I have a hard time right now giving up consistent frames. Like I really like that.
Yeah, I'm not
Like
doing.
I want it smooth, man.
Do you see the
Give me-
Resident Evil stuff? Like I'm not doing 45 frame. What the hell?
I'll tell you sound like Dev.
I'm not. I mean, no. I mean, that's the
Ew.
thing that I have learned. Like, no, if 60 is an option, then I'm doing.
Yes, I always want 60. I always want performance because I'm personally very sensitive to stuff like screen tearing too. So I always want the mode that pulls that stuff back.
Yeah.
I want to see it move smooth.
Preferably, I'd like it at 4K 60 with ray tracing.
I would
Ray tracing, as I've said from before the consoles launched, and then I felt confirmed after the consoles launched.
yeah.
Ray tracing to me is not something that I would give up performance for at all. I just don't think it makes that much of a difference.
It
It's not
doesn't
that much of an improvement.
I agree. It's not enough of an improvement to warrant the performance hit for me personally.
Yeah.
And I think it's because devs have gotten so good at faking it without having to do the processing
Right.
over top.
I wouldn't give up anything for ray tracing. I wouldn't give up lowering resolution for ray tracing.
No, I
wouldn't
agree.
Give up frames for ray tracing. Like,
Absolutely.
if
not.
you can put ray tracing in it, awesome. But if I've got to make concessions for you to do it, never mind.
It's the first thing I'll turn off.
Yeah,
It's the
absolutely.
first thing I'll be like, no, it's okay. Just give me my 60 frames back.
Yeah.
And I think it's very cool. I just don't need it. Like it doesn't improve
When I was
my.
playing Call of Duty, honestly, couldn't even tell the difference. It was really, really hard to tell the difference.
Do you remember how aggressive it is in Watch Dogs? It
Yes.
feels like everything
That
is.
you can
Shh.
you can definitely tell the difference in that one.
Did you pour Windex all over this?
And
Good
I felt
God.
like it made it worse. I was like,
Yeah,
ray
it was
tracing
distracting.
This is
I found it-
worse.
I found it distracting after a while.
I remember Jeff. I was talking to Jeff in his Discord about that, and I was like, "Is anybody seeing this?" And they were like, "What are you talking about? Like, this looks awful."
Yeah, it's a lot.
He was
It's-
teasing me for like 3 days. He's like, "Oh," he's like, "Now Donnie's got hot takes. Too much ray tracing."
I feel that too, though. But it is ray tracing is one of the first things that I turn off. So if there's another way to get some of that boost without completely throttling my performance, yeah, let's do that. I want to do
Yeah,
that.
of course.
Hell yeah, let's do that.
How do you feel about speaking of Resident Evil? How do you feel about not getting any of those demos and all that?
I don't care. Look, I
Because you
cheat.
got a PlayStation. You
I
don't
have a
care.
PlayStation. I can do both. This is not the first time that Sony has done this with a video
Sure.
game. It will not be the
Resident Evil
last
7.
time. And you know what? Yeah, 7
the
did
last
this.
time.
Yeah, we've done this. Capcom's relationship with Sony is pretty well known to be what it is. I'm not surprised, and it's whatever. I just let me play the video game, y'all. Just let me play the video game.
How do you like the demos are weird.
The demos are weird. The demo
It's a-
for 7
Like,
was
they're
weird.
calling it like an 8-hour demo that you can only play for 30 minutes during an 8-hour
8-hour window. It's
The
so
hell
weird.
is that supposed to mean?
It's so weird the way they do demos. It was weird with Resident Evil 7 as
When
well.
they came
Like,
out with a chart of when and how and what you could play, like when I saw the chart in my head, I was like, never mind. I'm out.
do you know, that's exactly what I did. I was like, you know what? This is a chunk of the game that I'm going to get to experience. I'd rather go into this thing cold because I so rarely get a new Resident Evil game that is like unique like this.
Yeah.
Because this one's wild looking.
This is definitely, this is new.
And I'm excited. Like
I'm excited too.
after 7, I love 7 might be my favorite. Like I could have an argument that 7 is so I'm ready. Like give me the werewolves and the weird. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that one. Like I'm pumped. Clear my schedule.
Werewolves.
Time to get scurry.
What the lady?
Lichens.
Damon
They're
Trash.
not- I mean, hell
Yeah.
yeah. She's a
Yeah.
9-foot tall hot vampire lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, like come on. I know who I am. I know my type, y'all.
Oh.
We're gonna move on. Glad my mom doesn't listen to the show. Next bullet. All right, so you got an invite for this. I did not yet.
Oh, finally. I woke up 10 minutes before the show started.
And then tweeted it to make me jealous and rub my nose in it. So Xbox has started to roll out browser-based xCloud gaming to select Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. Donnie is select. I'm not. Come on, Microsoft. What are you doing?
Maybe just tweet about it. Maybe because I tweeted at them yesterday. I was like, "What are you? Got to be kidding! You're killing me." I tweet about Game Pass like every day.
I know.
Game Pass,
I saw your tweet. It was thirsty.
Game Pass podcast. Like, what else do I have to do? Like me and Melissa McGame Pass are like this.
I saw that. I saw this tweet.
Yes.
And I was like, I had to fight my urge to be like, I have been on this platform for how many years? Where is my invite? Also, I'm on Twitter for 14 years and no birthday
Your
party.
Customer service said, we can't help you. You've got all the Game Pass you can have. Like,
yeah, you got locked out of buying more codes. You have to have a vault with a gnome in it.
Right.
So you should get a code. And then you did. You bitched on the internet.
I'm so happy. I can't wait to play it. I'm very excited. I'm going to play it. I don't know if I'm going to play it. I'm really tired. I don't know if I'm going to play it right after this, but I'll definitely be playing it tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm excited about this, and I'm sure that it will happen.
I've got the iPad. I've got the Chromebooks.
And I can't wait.
With the Razer Kishi, I'm going to do all of it.
The beta. I'm not in England. The beta is invite only. They say that, and it makes me nuts, and it slipped right out of my mouth like a fool. It's invite only. It's limited to Chrome, Safari, and Edge, so you can't use Mozilla. Sorry, Donnie.
Yeah.
Whatever. And they're going to pretty much do the thing where they just roll out invites as they go, which they usually do. This is their style. Phil's already tweeting that they're testing server backend upgrades internally. This is rad. I'm excited.
I'm excited for the upgrades. Like, I want to know, like, because I still don't think I've yet to see xCloud has yet to make me think that it even really comes close to Stadia in performance.
Fair.
So I'm waiting to see them get there. But the difference is they're not really, it's not a thing yet. Like, they're really slowly going about this, just one little phase at a time.
They want to get this right.
Yeah, I think
slowly. Like, they want to, and also, like, you're not looking at a Stadia situation where you have to buy a game either. You just get your library, bro, and that's quite a sexy
they're
thing,
doing it the opposite way.
Yeah, they're doing it the right way.
Completely opposite. Like, they're rolling it out. They're letting people, like, dip a toe. Like I said, that's the thing is, it's an accessory to your Xbox. It's not the Xbox. Now, for people that don't want to have an Xbox or can't get one, it can be a way in.
Sure,
but it's at the current time, it is still meant as an accessory. It's a companion.
And a cool toy just to play with. Like, it's like a conceptual toy almost. And they're treating it like very chill. Like, they're not, it's just, we're going to roll it out. You're going to check it out. Like, for real.
Doing a product launch that's actually a beta. Like,
and then making people keep paying for things on top of the monthly. We won't go down the rabbit hole.
Powered by Rainway.
That's interesting.
It's not. That's a crazy. Like, they're not doing their own tech. Jeff has a podcast up with the head of the Rainway app, and Rainway is a thing that's been around for a couple of years now. A few folks in the Discord have used it, and they've offered feedback over the years. Not great feedback, I might add, but I mean, it's also been it's been a couple of years. So, but you've got GeForce, you've got Rainway, you've got Shadow, you've got Stadia. And I was interested. Apparently, the story goes in short, and I'm not trying to. If you guys want to hear the story, definitely go listen to the How Games Make Money podcast with Jeff. Give Jeff a plug there. But the story in short is they were in Africa and they wanted to do a demo of cloud streaming, of game streaming, and apparently, like, their tech that they were trying to demo wasn't working.
Oh.
And somebody was like, "Well, just let me install the Rainway plugin, and we'll just run it on that." Because Rainway, I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong here, but pretty sure I think Rainway is hosted in Azure. So they're like, it's still showcasing like our stuff, even though
they're using their server architecture.
Right,
like, that's
And then apparently some of the Xbox or Microsoft people didn't know that it wasn't their tech, and they were so impressed with it. They were like, let's just talk to them.
It makes no sense to reinvent the wheel. Yeah,
I love that. They weren't like, how do we do this and put them out of business? We're like, let's bring them in.
I kind of like, and they've proven time and time again, and no company is perfect, and I'm sure that they've bought people out of business and done filthy things. That's the way that this works, right? But I do like when they see something, their engineers can look at it and go, let's not reinvent the wheel, which is my favorite move as an engineer, is to go, oh, you figured out the hard stuff, so let's just bring it in and plug it in. And that's a smart engineering move. Those are good engineers. Big fan.
Helps with speed. Getting up to speed, and that's why they're rolling it out. They're trying to judge load and everything slowly.
and then increase their servers to match. They're not trying to throttle their solution in their back end, and just completely demolish it because, oh, hey, everybody's on cloud all at once. This is very smart, and they're handling it very well, and they're kind of letting it grow with people's interest slowly over time, too. They're not trying to force it down your throat. I want an invite, Xbox, please. Come on, I want to play. It's a toy. I want to play with a toy. I want to break it. The engineer. All right, speaking of things that are broken and might now be fixed or might now be better, the alpha skip ahead ring of your Xbox software now has the feature where you can see which games are in quick resume, which ones support quick resume right in your guide, and some other tweaks that are very nice. I'm actually kind of excited about this feature. I like using quick resume, but I would love to know more about what does and doesn't work, what's running, what's...
Have you seen the screenshots?
Yeah. It's awesome. It's great.
So when you hit the guide, that's exactly what everybody was asking for, right? When you hit the guide, all your tiles come up and it tells you these are in quick resume. You can hop between these games if you want. You can turn these off. You can suspend them. Like that's perfect. That's what everybody was asking for.
It also looks like it indicates in the guide which games work with quick resume and which will not, which is lovely because then you can just be like, oh, right, I should just save and quit that game because it's going to break anyway. Alpha skip ahead ring is the most volatile of the rings. Am I right about that? Okay.
Yep, that's the early one.
How long do you think until we get this?
A month.
All right.
They typically, I mean, if you think about the free-to-play stuff came out about a month ago.
Okay.
About a month, 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how it goes, right? If they encounter a bunch of bugs or whatever. But yeah, the alpha skip ahead folks, they usually get stuff about a month, maybe 2 months at most ahead of everybody else, and then it starts to roll out. I'm in the beta preview ring.
Is that the safest of the previews?
It's the middle one. I'm in the middle
so there are 3 then. 3 rings of... It's fine. Don't worry, guys. 3 rings, 3 death rings. I'm in none of them. I just wait until everybody else's breaks it, and then I get it. Look, I'm a type A engineer.
Well, you remember they launched a new theme. There's a new theme coming too.
Yeah, let's go.
And I remember when everybody else got the themes, right? It was about a month after launch. Or maybe 2 weeks after launch, everybody else got the themes. They were looking to it, and I was like, wait a minute, you guys...
I've had these forever. Yeah, Donnie was very snooty about it.
I had those on the 1X.
There was some eye rolling from me. There was a little bit of fist shaking. There was some eye rolling.
But yeah, I forget that I'm in the beta ring.
Oh, I guess because you're so important. Look, you still didn't get your...
Go join the ring. You
I don't want to...
shirts and stuff. You fill out some surveys.
But I could break it. And I get nervous.
The beta ring is super safe.
It's
like the early access program.
Okay. All right, really you might be able to convince me to take this is my risk for the month.
It tells you, like in the beta ring, like you may have something that's like a bug, but you're not going to have anything. The beta ring is not going to like break anything. I was in the alpha ring for years, and I only had one issue.
Really? Yeah, I've heard
one issue made me jump to the beta, but I've been in the beta for years, and I've never had an issue.
Did the one issue break your box?
It didn't break my box. It locked me out of the store for about a month.
A month out of the store?
Yeah, I couldn't get into the store to buy anything else, and I was like, "This."
It's almost like they're saving you from yourself.
It
that
really
was a feature, not a bug.
It really was, and it really made me mad. I was like, "I can't do this anymore."
Stop judging my purchases, Mom. God,
just like I need to buy something. But yeah, it locked me out of the store. There was some bug that they had with the store when they were swapping out the stores, and like every time I launched it, it crashed. And it lasted for about 4 weeks before I quit. I jumped into the beta ring, and since then I've been in the beta ring.
I'm actually surprised you made it 4 weeks before you were like, I need to buy something for this Xbox.
Oh, man, that's one of the issues.
Itchy.
One of the counterproductive parts that I think of Game Pass that I'm very interested in hearing if there's like any data that Microsoft is tracking on this is I've got $50 in Xbox credit that I've had for about a month. I can't spend it.
Donnie.
I don't know what to spend it on. I'm being for real. I mean, legit. I've gone into the store the last 2 or 3 weeks, looked at new games on discounts, sales.
Why don't you just buy Resident Evil? What are you?
I already have.
Sometimes you make me just need to deep sigh and just
between Game Pass and I admit Game Share with Kev.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of it. But between those two things, it's like we literally own all of the Xbox games.
He owns a lot of Xbox games, y'all.
Like
It's
they're
true.
doing the un-Halloween sale this week where there's like 500 scary games on sale. And I was like, obvious, I'm going to go
know
find
you
something.
own all of those.
I have them all. It's like all the same games. And I do think that's like I don't want to say a detriment because it's definitely a good thing, but it's one of the things that I always think about with Game Pass.
Oh,
it's like-
you and I both know this is not only a Game Pass problem. This is a Donnie and Elaine problem where we buy too many damn video games, even outside of Game Pass.
I'm
But
not saying
yeah.
it's a normal thing.
No, it's definitely not a normal
It's not a
problem.
normal thing. That's not what I'm saying. But they've got that Song of Horror game coming out next month. I might buy that.
Okay. You'll find something to spend your money on. I'm not concerned.
I always do.
I know. Speaking of spending money on things, Microsoft won't be spending their money on Discord. Discord has decided we're not going to field these offers anymore. We're going to launch an IPO, which basically means they sat down and said we probably can be worth more money if we just IPO our
Go
company
public
for now. Hell yeah! With their investment and stake in gaming, like as communities, definitely they're worth a lot of money.
Microsoft was really interested in obtaining Discord like in a heavy way. Couldn't they just buy a controlling interest at public?
Probably, yeah, sure, but that's not really.
I wonder if that's where this goes.
Maybe that's not really their style, though. They don't usually do that. They don't usually bully their way in. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think they're content to just sit back and see what happens, and maybe
very
if
concerned about their company image. It's
Discords?
a big thing with Microsoft.
Yes, they are, and maybe they don't. Maybe they don't want the heat that comes with moderating some of these communities. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just said it's not worth it right now for us. We'd rather keep people on our servers doing their own thing. You know.
I take my lead from Jez on the Discord thing. He made a very good point that I agree with, that Discord really felt like maybe Microsoft's last bastion to get into some sort of successful social media push.
Sure.
And for me, I thought that would make it very valuable to them, like, because they don't have a Twitch and they don't have a YouTube and they don't have a Facebook and they don't have a Twitter. And I felt like Discord could have been actually kind of all of those things for them. It could have been many of those things like wrapped into one, but they don't need to own them to make
use
Discord
them to
do that.
And they've already got some integration into Discord, and you can display
But
at least your
controlling stake.
You could
Not even
do that.
A fair stake.
Yes,
could let you do that.
They might not want the heat that comes with social media right now. There's a lot of background political and socioeconomic, like there's a lot of conversations around social media and its impact on society that they may not want to be involved in. It might not be worth the squeeze in that way for them.
Yeah.
They have Azure. They're making their money hand over fist in other places. Do they really want to dip their toe into something that could get ugly? Maybe
I think they need something like that.
I think they see themselves as an enterprise company in that way. And so they've got Teams and Skype and all that stuff that they leverage successfully. And that's where they feel they fit into that market. They fit into the enterprise version. And they have a controlling stake in it, with the exception of maybe Slack. So maybe they just don't care,
Okay.
I don't know. I'm curious to see. We'll see what happens when Discord goes public. I'm curious to see how that goes.
It may not happen day one, right? It could happen 4 years from now.
Yeah, they could wait until the value starts to shrink.
There's no rush.
Yeah, they could pitch them. Yeah, they could buy it off later. Who knows? Yeah. I think Microsoft is contented to sit back on their hands and see where that goes. So,
if they were willing to spend $10 billion on ownership on an acquisition, then maybe $4 billion gets you a controlling stake.
That's possible, or they could wait and see if it's worth it, and let's see how some of the social media stuff starts to shake out over the next few years before they decide if they want to.
Good point.
So I'm curious, or maybe they have other plans. They're Microsoft; they have plans. We have one more story, and I think it's a good one. There was an update on Psychonauts 2 on Twitter. It's apparently it's coming this year. Okay. They basically, it's coming this year, but I can't tell you when. That was basically the tweet.
I can't tell you when because someone from all caps the
company
would arrange for a mysterious cactus incident.
That happened to me.
That's awesome.
It's real. It's playable. It's coming. This was a funny tweet. I'm glad it's coming this year. I'm excited about. I loved the first Psychonauts. I'm pumped about this.
It's out now at E3.
That would be great. That'd be awesome.
Game Pass today.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. That would make my E3.
Yeah.
It's a little things. That would make my E3.
Is that? Do you think that's too optimistic?
It's real. It's playable. It's coming.
I feel like that game should have been out already.
I think so too, but then COVID.
Yeah, but I thought it should have been out already. It's been delayed 4 times.
I kind of feel like E3 is the perfect spot to
It was
drop it
supposed to be
into.
out last fall.
You're right.
Delayed to this spring, and then if it drops E3, that's delayed out of spring to summer.
I think that's the right spot to drop it, though, because
I agree.
There's nothing else in its way, and people can just play it, and maybe it'll get the eyes it deserves besides its cult following.
It's big marketing. It's like eyes on right now. It's here. It's out. That's out now.
There is nothing better in this universe than watching a presentation and picking up my Xbox controller and downloading the thing and playing it right then. It feels so good. Like, give me the good feelings. Give me that dopamine.
I'm going to play it regardless, but I'd be a little upset if it's like we're at E3 and they're like, and it's out September.
Oh, that would bum me out.
Come on, guy.
Because you can't drop a game like that in the midst of all the other games that start to drop in the fall, because then I'm just like, I'll play it next year. That's what happens to me. I just don't do that. Put it out when nothing else is out.
Yeah.
Give it to
and
me
there's nothing like once Resident Evil comes out and Mass Effect, there's really nothing. I think that's the issue that Kevin and I are having right now. There's nothing with dates.
I'm pulling up my list because
there's stuff that
we're expecting.
We're expecting Dying Light. We're expecting Far Cry. Like, there's stuff that we're expecting to be there. We just don't know when and where it will be. Yeah,
Ratchet is supposed to be in June.
Yeah, I think that'll make it.
And then there's a bunch of nonsense. There's a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
This would be a perfect spot to slot in a cult following indie game.
Drop it at E3, hype announcement. It's not going to be in the way of anything else. Like, I think that's the perfect time for Psychonauts 2 to show up.
Yeah, I agree. That's when I want to play it.
I hope I like it. I never played the first one.
Oh, the first one is one of my favorite games. I don't know how it's aged. Probably not well.
I downloaded it with the intention of playing it and just never have.
I don't know how well that one would have aged. Excited about the second one, though. I loved the first one. I played it multiple times. It's Game Pass updates time, Donnie.
Ooh, Game Pass podcast.
Game Pass podcast. Of this list, I mean, Fogs, which is fun to say, on PC, April 22, Second Extinction on the 28th, Destroy All Humans on the 29th, which is getting a Series XS patch, I believe, or has gotten one already.
That is
that's
the
cool.
remaster version.
Yeah, that's the remaster with its performance patch that will be out. Fable 3 and Anniversary are coming to cloud on the 30th, which is relevant if you have an invite like Mr. Donnie does. And then touch controls are coming.
How it is, Lane.
Damn it. Those games have not aged well, and you know it.
Yeah, the upgrades to Fable 3 make it playable.
Yeah, playable is a different conversation.
It's not great, but it's
not
playable. It does a lot to the textures. It still looks edgy and rigid, but the textures look pretty clean, actually. It feels like an HD, like an upres. It feels like an upres remaster. It's the original code, but upres remastered. Like the game that I really like on Turok, the Turok remasters.
Yeah, those are fine. Yes.
It feels like Fable 3 feels like that now.
And Anniversary felt like that when it came out on its platform.
Dropped the ball for me, kind of. I was wanting a lot more out of that.
I think I was...
book. Did you get the book?
Yes.
I think I still have that book somewhere.
I wanted that to be more of a bump than it got, and I was bummed by it. So
Fable Anniversary needs to be remastered. We need like a Fable collection. Like, it all just needs to be remastered.
A legendary collection of Fables.
Yeah.
I just want Fable 2. Just give me the one with the dog. Screw the rest of the games.
Fables. And it's Fable
I
1,
hate
2,
that.
And 3.
I don't like that. I don't like it. Don't pout at me.
I just want the world to enjoy more Fable.
I mean, yes, we both agree on that.
Did you see hang on, before we get off did you see the news last week? We didn't talk about it. There was that news last week. That guy went on the podcast and he said, the headline was making the news. He said that, people are excited about Xbox, but these games that people are excited for, and I think he mentioned Perfect Dark, Everwild, and Fable.
Yes.
His quote was, they're so far off.
I know, I saw that. And that's got to be what, 2022, 2023? Is that what for all of them at this point, right?
I would be surprised if we were playing Fable before 2024.
That's so far away.
My only hope for that one is that maybe it was rumored for a long time But they hired so many people, and they still are hiring so many people that I don't know that it's like in proper development right now.
I feel like we would have heard more if it was really a deep in, because I feel like
but
that's
for,
a
like,
big one.
18 months before they announced it, like, we've known. It was like the world's worst secret that they were working on Fable.
I feel like, yeah, that's kind of been whispered forever.
So
you know what I
maybe
mean?
2023?
I don't want to
Maybe?
get my hopes up. And
I don't
just
want to get
have
my
them
hopes up either.
dashed.
I was thinking that Everwild could be next year. So maybe Everwild is further off than I was thinking.
Yeah. This is Xbox is in kind of that limbo with some of these exclusives. They
You
just
start
are.
off a bunch of new projects.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Perfect Dark. They've got a lot of people at that studio. I'd be very interested in. I don't know which one you'd show up first.
This question from the chat that I need to read because it makes me mad. What's released first, Fable or Metroid Prime 4?
That's a good question, actually.
That's a good question, and I'm angry about it because I should have Metroid Prime 4 already, and I'm just
That's
a little
the thing
sassy
is we just
about
don't
it.
know. Like, we didn't see any gameplay,
Right.
and I think it's because there is none.
I literally think you could flip a coin on this question, and that's where
Yeah.
we're at. That's where I think
we'll
we're
see.
at.
I don't think we'll see Fable this year at E3 at all. I think maybe next
Agree.
year we see a gameplay demo.
And we're not going to get Metroid Prime 4
So,
this
like,
year either.
This year, no. 2022 we get a demo. Maybe 2023 Fable comes.
I feel like we could say exactly the same about Metroid Prime 4. So, yep, this is a coin flip question.
Okay.
And I hate it. Thanks, I hate it.
I was thinking Everwild was further in production than it is because we've seen gameplay of it. So
Yeah.
I think maybe, I know he said a long ways off. Maybe Everwild. I don't think they're all 2023 for sure.
No,
So
I
maybe
think
Everwild 2022,
2020
Fable 23, and Perfect Dark 24.
I love that you're so optimistic. I would probably shift the whole batch over by 1 year.
I don't think that's fair. That's okay.
That's probably
okay,
like
too.
and no, yeah, that's fine. It's
You know,
just
because
that I
we've
want
got
them now.
Hellblade's in development. We've got Compulsion that's working on things. They've got 4 studios. It's not like there's nothing else that's being worked on.
Right. Video
They'll
games are
have
happening.
folks. The people who took that news, and I was a little taken aback only because of the Everwild thing. I was like, okay, that's a new bit of news for me. But then all those people that were like, oh my God, Fable's that far off. It's like, you thought Fable was soon?
What did you think, baby? Baby, what is you doing?
What do you guys think Fable is? Like, you think it's next year? What's the matter with you guys?
People want to be mad on the internet, Donnie.
Yeah.
We've established that people are looking for a reason to be mad on the internet. Like,
It
it's
does
their
make you
favorite
wonder,
thing.
like, what they have in store for next year.
Forza. That should be
I
this
think
year.
we're going to Forza this year.
I think we're going to get
So
2
what are we
Forzas.
getting next year? Because we're going to get the
other
other
Forza.
Forza.
The other Forza, yeah.
That's
Come on.
okay, but they need more than that because you
I
get Halo
agree.
this year.
Let's just shh. You'll scare it. You'll scare it out of fall. It has to be this year, even if it's a
Halo's
dumpster
launching,
fire.
So, and like, it's not going to be Gears.
No, it's
So you
definitely
can
not going to be
rule
Gears.
that
That's
out.
next year. That's
It's not
going
going
to
to be Gears.
No.
Do you think Hellblade's ready next year?
Maybe.
I think so.
Maybe. Yeah,
That might
I
be
think so.
the-
I think that's possible. Speaking of, there's a very cool video going around of some of her like face capture and stuff. Yo, you
I
guys
was so
should
excited
Google
that you
It's dope.
watched it. So here's the thing. I wrestled with this. You let me know. I wanted to tag you and Rebecca, and then I actually had that thought in my head. I was like, is it weird of me if I want to tag them? Because I don't want to tag them just because they're girls. I just think she's like freaking cool, and I think they would enjoy it.
She's an actual badass, that
Right.
woman. Like she's
She was
I have a
the sword training and doing this stuff. I was like,
She
this
is-
is freaking awesome.
she is an actual like human badass, and I have a lot of respect for her. But just and yes, because she's a woman and she's like she went the whole way. She like learned how to fight for this.
I loved watching it.
It's
Like,
an awesome video. If you guys
I've been
haven't
following
seen it,
those documentaries. They have these little documentaries on her YouTube channel. I've been watching them every time they come out, and they're so
good.
exciting.
So good. She's awesome. I really have a lot of yes. You can always tag me in any videos of her. She's the
Okay.
best. She's the best.
I literally had that thought. I was like, oh man, if I tag them, they're gonna be like, you just tagged us because they were girls. And I was like, I just leave it alone.
I am not that. I'm genuinely not that girl. I'm not usually looking to fight you.
You
Nine
can tell
times
that
out of
like
10.
I use social media, like I'm changing. I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know. Twitter's.
Can I do
you're gonna-
this?
I'm gonna make the women mad again. That's what you thought. Again, that's what you thought. All right, let's wrap up this Game Pass nonsense. As a quick note, touch controls are coming to Banjo-Kazooie, Battle Chasers, Killer Queen Black, Overcooked 2, Wreckfest, and Double Dragon Neon. Leaving Game Pass, Endless Legend PC. For the King, Cloud Console and PC. Fractured Minds, Cloud and Console. Levelhead, everything. Moving Out, everything. And Thumper on the PC. Yo, Thumper is great. So if you haven't played Thumper, you should play Thumper before it leaves.
One of my
If you're
many
a PC.
regrets on Switch.
Oh, Thumper. I played Thumper on PC. Thumper is dope on
So
PC.
disagree.
I love
Say,
Thumper.
the only game that I even recognize out of this list is Moving Out. I don't know what those other games are.
No, I don't know those either, which means they can go. Yeet them out.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeet them out. Bye, Felicia. God, we're dating her. We're like, I've been on Twitter for 14 years. Bye, Felicia. You can hear my cane rattling. Oh my God.
Piper, no. You're hoping Hellblade comes out this year? No.
No, look.
It's
Shh.
not.
It's
not.
I'm gonna use this quote again because I love an opportunity to use it. It's nice to want things. Okay?
Not this. Not like this. We've got to calm this right here and now. Just
You
let
can't.
it
No,
go.
don't. I like Piper. Piper's been fun. Don't scare Piper away. All right, Donnie, we got questions. Let's give these people some really ridiculously stupid answers.
Low Rule Legend, what unannounced first-party game would you like to see announced at E3?
Gears 6. It's the first answer that I want to give. I want to see Gears 6. I don't know if it's reasonable or not, but that's what I
That's
want.
a good idea. I don't know if it's reasonable or not either. I guess it could be.
Yeah, sure.
I think
Gears
it's
6.
early.
Yeah, but I don't care.
I don't care either.
I don't give a crap. I just want to see Gears 6
It's not
and where
like
they.
Fable early.
I
think
want
Gears 6 comes out before Fable does.
Oh, absolutely. I want a story trailer. Give me some Gears 6.
Yeah.
Give me more cat. Give me the Gears.
Okay, I'm okay with
I want
that.
the Gears. What do you want?
I mean, I don't want it really. I think Compulsion is next. Right?
I don't want to know what you think. I want to know what you want. If you could pick, because it's like to see. If you could pick one thing
It's hard
first
because
party.
Everybody has already announced something except for like the Coalition. Like,
That's
oh,
why it's
Wolf
gotta be
3.
cute. Okay, there you go. See, that's
Wolf
fun.
3.
That's a
I
good
would
one. That's
want
great.
Wolf 3 announced.
Let's go.
I don't care if
Let's
it's
do
this
that.
year or next year, but Wolfenstein 3, I want it coming to Game Pass. I want to see it.
Show me a nonsense trailer. Let's go. Yeah. Let's do this. Like this is a like want situation. We don't always have to be reasonable. I could bang my fist and be unreasonable.
I like it.
All right. Let's see. All right. This one I enjoyed. This one's from Ryan. What is the Game Pass gnome's food and drink of choice? It's got to be Doritos and Mountain Dew, right? Like, oh, you want him to drink the rum and cokes. That's all right.
Remember we did the whole Fable side quest. The gnome
I
sells
feel like
rum.
the gnome sells rum that he drinks out of the bottle. I don't think he's mixing the rum. Let's be very clear. The gnome he's a little cranky.
He's got like little gallon jugs.
Yeah, what's he eating? No, beef jerky. It's
jerky.
gotta travel well, right?
Pepperoni.
Okay. God, he's gonna smell so terrible. It just smells like rum and salami. Just like that one gross uncle that everybody has. Just chomping on a cigar.
Right, MLB The Show baseball player. Same guy.
Sticky. Constantly sticky. Not sure why. So gross, Donnie. So gross. All right, the rest of this question is much better than how nasty that got. If Game Pass didn't exist, would the Xbox brand be anywhere near as relevant as it is?
Absolutely not.
No,
even
dude.
Close.
I actually think if they had not Game Pass, they would have died off after the Xbox One kerfluffle.
Oh, I don't.
They would never have been able to drag it back.
I wouldn't go that far, but I could see that. I mean, I guess that potential exists. Game Pass has definitely reinvigorated them. They have a new thing to reach for. Without Game Pass, even with the Bethesda acquisition, there would still be a lot of people right now, if you had your console right now, wondering where games are, and like basically like the beginning, like the second year through the fourth year of the Xbox One. Like, where are the games? What are you doing?
We can make an easy argument that the Bethesda acquisition would not have happened because they would not have gotten this far without Game Pass. I think it saved their business because it gave them something to build off of, even if they don't have the highest number of sales right now. That makes sense going forward, that they can make money on.
I'm not going to fight you on it. I think it's fair. I agree with you. They wouldn't have bought Bethesda. The reason they bought Bethesda was to bring content to Game Pass. That's why they bought Bethesda. It wasn't to basically just enhance their first party studios. It was to bring game. They basically did a cost analysis where they were like, we can pay for exclusive deals and it costs us this much, or we could just buy the cow.
Yes.
Like we could just buy them and make all those games exclusive. And they realized that, over 5-10 years, whatever it was, they made out better in the long run. So I agree with you, but Game Pass has definitely reinvigorated the entire brand. And without it, they'd still be the video game console that's not as good as the other ones. But
Agreed.
with it, I mean, I know I say that there's games I don't have games to play,
But you could.
But without Game Pass,
You would just be booting up only your
like
PS5.
if you bought an Xbox and there was no Game Pass, there's no The Medium, there's no Outriders, there's no The Show, you have much less to play than you do. Like there's no Call of the Sea. Like so much of the games that I've sunk like actual real game time into have been on Game Pass because we're waiting for the new games to come, and Game Pass makes that waiting part so much easier.
Yeah, because I can do the like bored teenager thing where I'm just like scroll through bored Netflix thing where I'm just like that looks good and play it.
I think that's why you see a lot of those PlayStation hot takes that they're just waiting on Ratchet. Like they got Returnal today, right? But you know, a lot of them are just waiting.
Yeah, sure, yes, you know, or replaying older games, and that's. But I think the interesting thing about PlayStation is they were in a much better spot coming into this position. They have, you know, but Microsoft's the Xbox One launch and like first window was real rough, and I really do think Game Pass is part of what helped them pull it up by its bootstraps.
Oh yeah,
and without it, they might have given up. They might have not seen it out
with more exclusives than the series consoles did by far.
Oh yes,
but it doesn't even feel like that because of Game Pass.
Correct.
Nobody cares because of Game Pass.
I think that if they hadn't come up with this genius plan, they would not have been able to drag this brand back
MLB
up.
The Show isn't even an exclusive, and Game Pass fans are more excited about it than PlayStation fans are.
Yeah, because they don't have to pay $70 for it.
Exactly.
Or whatever. It's just there when you boot up the console, and the console says, install me, I'm so pretty.
Yeah, it's like, hey, did you know I'm here today?
Like, I mean, Piper in chat, I bought a Series S because of Game Pass. That's going to start happening more and more and more and more. Yeah. And I think, but without it, if Game Pass did not exist, what's the point of buying that extra console? I don't even think these consoles would have launched. I really do think they would not have made it out of the last generation. They would have looked at the cost benefit and said, it's not worth it to launch another console.
Wow.
That's where I think this was their thing that they said we can
close, huh?
I mean, they got swamped last gen. Big
but
time.
they still made money. It's
sure, but
it's not like they were taking a loss or not. Like they made a lot of money. It wasn't like they were making little money. They made big money too. They were profitable.
But were they profitable just on the backs of those consoles without the Game Pass integration? Would they have sold all the end of life?
I think for the majority of the generation, they were profitable beyond Game Pass. Remember, Game Pass wasn't
it was the end.
10 million until just last year. By the way, it started 23 million.
I know. They broke 20. Spicy. It's coming in hot. I do think that when you look at a cost-benefit analysis of launching...
like 10 million in like 8 months.
It's crazy.
Like numbers are going up.
That's the thing I think they looked at the end of last generation and said, we can totally build off this. Or somewhere mid-generation, whenever it started to roll out, and they looked at it and said, oh, we're a services company. We found it. This is the thing. They're not making money hand over fist on hardware. They might even be losing it. They don't care.
Smart. I'm not sure if it was, I think it was all premeditated, but it was smart if the plan was always to integrate Xbox with the Game Pass approach and direction that they currently are on. It's so embedded in Azure.
Yeah.
With the cloud and everything that it's like double profiting. It's like double dipping off of what they already have.
It's so smart.
You know, it's like so smart. They're having a thing they already have and they're using it to make money off the thing they're already paying for.
Right.
And that has got to give them like long lasting appeal to Microsoft, like, you know, the board and stakeholders and everything. It's like, what are you going to do? You're not going to just turn that money away. It's it's not free money, but it's kind of free money.
It also gives them a brand to stand up against their own services and say, look, we can make this work everywhere. Like, it's very smart. And I do think that without it, they'd be in either in an ugly place or not in this game anymore.
I think the moves that they made before going full on Game Pass were signs that they weren't going to give up on it.
Yeah, it's fair. That's fair.
You know, they bought Ninja Theory, they bought Playground, bought a lot of folks. You know, they bought Compulsion, they bought Double Fine. You know, they bought a lot of people.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm forgetting 4 of them in there. They bought a lot of people, and that was because they realized they needed content. And I know that the Game Pass thing was kind of happening around the same time, and they were probably planning for it and leading to it. But like, I even feel like if Game Pass hadn't taken off like immediately, as well as it did, that they still would have launched a new console and they still would have kept going.
Interesting.
This definitely wouldn't be nearly as successful or impactful. Like now, you see people invigorated and excited for Xbox, and that hasn't been a thing in years.
No, I agree. Not
And
since the
that
360. It's
Is
a big
the
deal.
Game Pass factor? That's
Yes.
because of Game Pass. It's not
They are-
because of there's nothing. They haven't launched anything else. It is just because of Game Pass.
They launched a mini fridge shaped console, which is I love, but it's ridiculous. And but the people are attached to Game Pass now, and
Yeah.
it's brilliant. And yeah, you're right. They might have carried through, but I don't think it would feel like
Oh, definitely not.
exciting. It would feel like, oh, Microsoft's making another console. Cute to watch them keep trying. You know what I
That's
mean?
exactly what it felt like. It's like, well, there's no what you would have heard. Well, there's no reason to own an Xbox.
Oh, yep.
Not
and it would-
until some stuff's launches.
It would have been big time that, and it's like, oh, I guess I'll pick up an Xbox now because Gears is finally out. But now
here's
it's
a
just
good
like,
question.
yep,
Without Game Pass, would they have launched Halo?
Infinite.
Yeah, they would have, wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely, they had to.
Yeah, they
they're-
would have.
That's the one. That is their one. Do you remember when 3 launched and the 7-Elevens all had the cups and everything? That is their one. That is huge. Yes, that would have happened.
They would
that
have
would
launched
absolutely
it, even if it was, no matter what state it was in. Without
It would have
Game
been-
Pass, they would have.
They
launched
wouldn't have had a choice. They couldn't have delayed it.
Yeah.
And it
But
would have
with
been
Game
bad.
Pass, they were like, "Don't worry about it; it'll be done later."
We got other games. Calm yourself.
Yeah,
It's probably the smartest thing they've ever done. The Game Pass
I love Game Pass,
coming out of
as
3
you already know.
coming out of the 360, tanking in the early Xbox One, and then pulling up by their bootstraps with this service. Oof. It's
I
an
want
underdog
everybody to
story.
have a Game Pass. I want Nintendo to have Game Pass.
Yeah,
I want
give me a-
Sony to have a Game Pass. So that's the funny thing is everybody thinks I'm so anti-Sony, and like I've
No.
been saying this for years. I'm like, I own a PlayStation, and a lot of with me and PlayStation, you know what I'm thinking? Why don't I have a Game Pass here?
It's true.
You know,
It's
and
true.
all the PlayStation folks are like, I hate Game Pass. It's like that's not the attitude you should have. You should have the attitude, where's my PlayStation Game Pass? Like, why
I
are
would
they
throw
doing
money
it
at that.
too?
Yeah, I would
Why
throw
are
money
they
at it.
doing it too? Like,
I
why
would
are you telling PlayStation? You know what we would like? Outriders for $70 for free for our subscription.
Well,
we'd
for
like that
your
too.
subscription. Yeah. Yeah, we
We'd
want
like
that too.
PlayStation, what are you doing?
Man,
I look
I'm gonna
at
read this-
Nintendo doing the same thing. I'm like,
Nintendo kind of. Nintendo doesn't need to do that. and
I
you
know they
it.
don't. Oh,
They don't
nobody,
need to.
Nobody needs to. But it's like
No, Microsoft needs to. Everybody
got-
else.
I've got tons of credit for
I
Nintendo
know.
in my eShop. I'm not buying any of those indie games.
Because they're out on the
They're
Xbox on the Game Pass.
it's just like Nintendo.
And also, yeah,
I need
Nintendo,
you to do
please.
something here.
Nintendo, please make me pay for 2 subscription services because I will.
I will.
I would pay for 3.
Absolutely. I
I'd
want
pay for 3.
more. Yeah, give me
Uh,
more
absolutely.
subscriptions.
I'm going to read this because it is a warm fuzzy that Ryan included, and I like warm fuzzies. As always, love the show and the chemistry you two have. Can't wait to listen in the morning. Thank you, Ryan, for recognizing our.
Oh,
I know. I like a warm fuzzy every once in a while. All right,
Sure.
Donnie, your turn to choose. We got a little bit more time before we have to log out.
Hobie 1K, there has been a stir around the net about buying games at full price versus on sale after John Garvin, the Days Gone team, made a comment on the matter. What is Empire's thoughts on how you acquire a game, full price, sale, Game Pass, affecting the possibility of a sequel?
This is a really interesting question. I
Well, I would address the podcast that this was on. I don't like Mr. Jaffe, his hot takes and all of his stuff.
think coming in hot towards people and saying you have to buy it full price or then don't whine about getting a sequel is some bullshit. There's no
It is
nice way to
definitely
say that.
bullshit.
There's no
Bullshit.
nice way to say it. It's bullshit.
Yeah, I didn't
You
like
should-
what he said either. This is a dumb statement that he said.
Yeah. I just
It's not like Days Gone didn't sell and didn't make money. It did. It did sell and it made money. So
they,
shove it.
yeah, like it and there are lots of reasons that projects don't get greenlit. And not all of them have to do with dollars and cents. There are games that make money that don't get sequels.
I do
You know.
hate that the narrative, because of the Schreier article, is Days Gone didn't make enough money, so they didn't greenlight a thing. But if you read into the article and some of the comments that came out after it, they didn't pitch a Days Gone sequel. They pitched an open shared world version
Yeah.
of Days Gone. Guess
Yes.
what? I probably wouldn't have greenlit that either.
I think that's a hard stretch for a game that, you know,
Don't forget that Days Gone was in dev for like 8 years. There was a it was a PlayStation Move game, I think, at one point. It was like it was definitely like a PlayStation 3 game. Like the game was for a long time. That game.
It went through some things
back in Podcast Beyond years with old Colin and Greg. I was listening to Dead Don't Ride and the game that Sony Bend is making and all that other stuff. Like we've been hearing about that game for a while. So like, yes, I don't want to come to Jim Ryan's defense. But I'd be hard pressed to greenlight a project from Sony Bend, like some big undertaking. Like if they had pitched like, we're going to use the same engine, we're going to make a game. It's going to be a fast game. It's going to be a story-based game. We're going to make it 20 hours and we're going to sell it. I probably would have greenlit that project.
Or a direct sequel that's structured very similarly. Yeah. Like I like Days Gone. I realize that may be a hot take. I think that the pacing of that game has problems.
I think the game's way too long.
The beginning is too long, that first opening chunk. But regardless of that fact, I like it. And if you made me a slightly tighter game that builds off of
like it. I think that game is adequately rated. I think it's a good, not great game.
I kind of agree, but
Everybody makes those.
I like where the story went and what they were.
I love Infamous. I think Infamous was a good, not great game.
I like Infamous more than you do, I think.
I don't. Oh, you were barking up the wrong tree.
I really, really like Infamous a lot.
It's
like
maybe
I do.
My favorite PlayStation series.
Yeah,
I'm a huge Infamous fan.
I really love Infamous.
I'm not talking about the last one. I'm talking about the originals.
Yeah,
like the original Infamous 1 and 2. Like those were good, not great games.
They were fine.
They're not the last.
I liked them.
They're not Uncharted.
I like where the story goes.
Crackdown.
Yeah, but I like where the story goes in Days Gone. I liked what they did. They did good character work. There's stuff there that could be built on. If you had pitched a slightly tighter direct sequel, yeah, I'm here for that.
But they did it. They pitched Days Gone Destiny or State of Decay or...
See, I don't want. Like, there's a billion other games that fit in...
want that?
Right, and I don't... I think Days Gone sold well enough.
That's a big game.
Right.
That's a big thing. That's a big project. And Sony Bend, that's what you pitched? No, I would have canceled that too.
I think if they had pitched a direct sequel that was tighter, built on the same engine, or maybe an updated version, that might have gotten greenlit. We don't know. We can never be in that boardroom, right?
Sure.
But to this point, most devs are out there like, just play our freaking video game. If you buy it on sale, fine. Yeah. If you get it from Game Pass, fine. Like, sitting there and saying our game didn't get greenlit because you didn't pay $60 or $70 for it is absolutely bananas.
Especially with all of the built-in advantages that a first-party studio has over every other studio in the world that's doing the same thing, and you don't hear them saying it.
Right. This is some uppity nonsense, and I'm of the opinion, buy the damn game anywhere that you can buy the game if you want to play the game. That's my opinion on the matter. Like, look. Don't pirate things. That's my stance on it. But if you get it for $20 on sale because that's the only way you can play the video game,
pirate old things if you can't buy it anymore.
That's a different conversation.
Okay,
but
just be clear.
Yeah, that's a different conversation. But
I have a line in the sand of when piracy is okay, and it's
fair.
when you can't buy old stuff.
But if this game that you thought about playing and didn't get around to is now $20 at GameStop, then buy the game and play it that way. And don't feel bad about spending $20 instead of $60. And if you really love the game after, I don't know, buy a DLC pack. Do something, you know? But God's sakes, don't get uppity with people for not having $60 to spend in an especially difficult economy on a brand new video game.
And even if they don't have it to spend, like, there's a lot of games arguing for their money, but maybe they just didn't want to buy it at the time.
Or they don't have the time to play it. I
didn't have the time to play Ghost when Ghost came out. I didn't want to play it then. So I bought it now, and I bought it for $40. And guess what? Ghost doesn't care. Like, their Sucker Punch doing great.
Yeah.
You know? Like, so it doesn't matter. When it comes to me, if it's a game that I really, really want, like if it's a game that I'm planning on buying the day it comes out, then I buy it at full price.
Me too.
I do get some sense of, I don't know, satisfaction that I'm supporting the developer.
Yeah, sometimes.
I think it depends on the developer, like an indie dev.
I agree.
I definitely want to buy things like, I want to support teams like the Wild at Heart. I bought that game. It's coming to Game Pass. I bought it. I wanted to support them.
I do the thing where when it comes to Game Pass and I really like it, I'll buy the Switch version.
Yeah.
I do that all the time. I do that with tons of games. It comes to Steam, but then it comes back on Switch later.
Especially indie games.
I want a physical version, or I do tons of that stuff.
I bought 2 digital copies and the stupid limited run edition.
I throw so much money at. I own Doom in every capacity there is to own Doom, and I totally bought the limited run version of Doom. I
Yeah.
don't care if you're going to get money out of me in some way, but if you're sitting there and you're like, I want to play this game and it's $20 on sale, oh, I feel bad for not buying it at full
Yeah, I
price.
think
Don't feel
that's
like
it.
that.
If you want to support the project or show support for the project or a favorite dev, then buy the game, buy the collector's edition, buy multiple copies of the game, buy a friend a game.
Or
You know,
just
I've bought
buy
friends copies of Golf Story. But if you just want, don't feel bad about picking up a game that's on sale or a game that's on Game Pass. Like,
exactly.
they're all getting their money and their engagement in the end, regardless. You know,
Yeah,
like, if you feel bad about getting on sale, then tweet about it. That means
Yeah.
just as much to them as you buying the game.
Or buy some DLC or whatever. Like there
Stream
are
it.
ways. Or you stream
Stream
it,
their
talk
game.
about it, tell your
Yeah.
friends to buy the game. There are ways to support people that don't just mean having. And sometimes you don't hear about the thing day one, and you hear about it when it goes on sale.
100%. That's
Like,
the thing.
Have
The
some
biggest
chill.
issue with Mr. Garvin's comments is that he has, like, could you imagine what an indie dev might think of that statement? Like, he has all the built-in advantages. Probably talking about a $50 million marketing budget, multiple E3 showings, multiple on-site demos. Like, he has every advantage to sell that game.
And he's still
if that
bitching.
game didn't sell as many copies as they thought it should have or would have, it's because the game wasn't good enough.
Agree. Like
I mean,
there's
there's no other reasons, because it had every opportunity to do as well as every other game does and more, and it
It's-
didn't.
and there's indie devs who can't even get their crap to the top of the Steam
Maybe.
dumpster.
Maybe they shouldn't have shipped the review copies that were so broken.
Oh boy, yeah, because that day one
'Cause
patch
that
did a
game
lot for that
wasn't
game.
super great.
Yeah.
For about a month after it came out.
Agree. I played it pretty
Maybe
early.
if they had waited a month and launched the game, maybe more people would have bought it on day one. Maybe people were scared off by those reviews.
The conversation does not need to be solely around buy it at $60. The conversation is more nuanced than that. And I'm of the opinion if you want to play the damn video game, buy it whatever way you want to. Just don't steal it if it just came out. Like, come on. You know what I mean?
Don't do
But
that.
that's a different conversation. That makes you crappy, but you know. All right. I think that's it today. Do you think that's it today?
Yeah,
I
it's
think
good.
that's it today. We hit our good time. We're in a good mood. Before we close this thing out, let me give a big shout out to our Patreon on air producer level producers. I'm going to list the names, but thank you to everybody who supports us on Patreon at any level, who hangs out in the Discord, who tweets, retweets, and sends me lovely messages and sends Donnie sassy messages. Those make me very happy.
Hey, the Patreon supporters, they get early access to Sweet Hangs.
That's true.
Weekly.
Ooh. They get you for the price of $0. You get early access to my Twitter feed. I'm ET Dragon and Donnie is Eat the Hype. $0. Come on over. I post a lot of cat memes. So, all right, let me give a shout out to our on-air producers: Michael Masick, Barry Cathcart, Edwin Callow, Stephen Keller, Nick Creature, Rude Days 93, Ben Moxham, Rob Emanuel, Nick Fallhaber, Paul Calicote, Kyle Heyman, Grouchy Surge, Devin Tyus, Josh Bourbon, RJ Kern, HorseGirl69, and Zachary Adams. Donnie, I was almost out. I was almost out of there. I almost did it. I think that's going to do it for this week. Is that going to do it for this week?
We're good.
We're good. So until next week, when we see you again, play some video games, y'all.
Peace, folks.
Later.